honestly, I mean, we didn't think we were going to get to 200. I think in those kind of situations, there's got to be a little bit of risk and reward. And I think too many times you see teams go into their shell and 60 for 4 becomes, 80 for 6, and then you just manage to get to 100 or 120. Against that kind of opposition, with that kind of firepower, we knew we had to get some sort of total that was going to be enough for our bowlers to defend. We've got a good bowling attack as well, but with Shadab and I kind of, I guess, teeing off out there and doing that, it put us in a position where we were going to do well, and a couple of boys came in and struck it well as well. So, look, I don't think we assessed targets. I think it was picking our bowler and going from there. I think with the smaller boundaries here as well, you can kind of get away with a little bit. It's probably could end up being a little bit of a bowler's graveyard by the end of the comp, but it is what it is. Guys will figure out plans and go about it in the next sort of week or two. So it was more of just a wait and see who came onto the attack and go from there.
Well, hello guys, welcome to another big innings, and you heard it from the man who had himself a big innings. I'm Aaman Patel, joined by Nate Hayes, obviously, and that was Corey Anderson, who today scored 91 off 52 for the San Francisco Unicorns as they took on MI New York, and it was just scintillating. The sun was hot, but Corey Anderson today might have been the hottest thing on the ground.
Oh man, and I asked him in the press conference, how do you think living and playing here gives you an advantage when you have to play a long innings like this in this heat and this weather? And he said, no matter how long you live here, you never get used to this. So, and I believe him after being out here today for two whole days in this 100+ weather. So it's something else, really.
No, it truly was something else because the San Francisco Unicorns got to 200. I remember talking to Dave Agnew, the curator of the wickets, asking what are the kind of the scores you're looking at. He said, 170, 180, I think are pretty good. I love it to get to 200. That'd be, the best thing ever. And boom, the first match on day 2 gets to 200, and man, they was brilliant. And it didn't look like it was always going to get to 200. You saw Aaron Finch go early. You saw guys like Stoinis go early, Finn Allen go early, Glenn, just Matthew Wade going early. But then you saw the composure from guys like Shadab Khan and Corey Anderson that propelled this innings to 200.
Yes, and all the big name batters at the top of the order, the first 4 batters for San Francisco Unicorns are overseas. They're their domestic players, and they're the players that you're going to logically think are going to carry the team. Corey Anderson himself is a domestic, but we know about his pedigree. We know about where his history. I should say, he's a phenomenal athlete, and he just crunches the ball, and he did that today. I asked him about that. When he was in there with Shadab Khan, it was those two, and then it was domestics and bowlers that was left after them. And I asked him, do you feel like you had to do this because there was nobody? Because did you feel like there was anybody behind you? Sure. I didn't exactly ask it that way, but I wanted to see what his feelings were about the team, about the domestics, and he said it doesn't matter to him if they're domestics or overseas. Whoever comes in has to do the job, and he didn't think about it that way. So it's nice to see that, and I absolutely believe him. But they batted like they were trying to score, and that they were very comfortable. And as he said there, this is not a big ground. It has where the pitch is right now. There is one side of the ground that's shorter than the other, of course, and they targeted that quite a bit. Just brilliant. 91 from 52. I think I thought with about almost 2 overs left, and he was in the 80s. I thought he might get this century. Yeah. But he did look tired too.
No, it was a scorching day out there. I was sat outside. Our producer Babar, he was sat outside as well in the heat. It almost just feels like it's weighing down on you. So for him to be able to pull that off, when he comes into bat, the team is 22 for 3 in the midst of the 4th over with the likes of Trent Bolt and Kaiso Rabada bowling, and then After that, Ace Sanadil comes in. So the task never really got easier for San Francisco, but it showed the composure and it showed the complete ability of Corey Anderson. It showed why he was their first-round draft pick. They said, this is a guy that can come in the middle order and build our innings, and he did just that, carrying them to that total over 200 and giving New York something really challenging to chase. And I was excited for what New York had to offer because I didn't know what the opening combination would be. I figured the top three would be some combination of Monak Patel, Steven Taylor, and Dewald Brevis. But how do they fit it all together? And they go with Brevis and Taylor to open, and it just goes off not the way they thought it would. Steven Taylor goes first ball.
Yeah, that was really frustrating to see. We saw that happen to him down in Zimbabwe in the qualifier. We know that the team got sick down there. And everybody was feeling weak, and I was worried that the USA players would start slow because of that. Obviously, we don't want to see that. We want to see everybody firing. But yeah, Steven Taylor gone first ball, so New York got lucky from that. I think and Monak didn't last too much longer. But when you have We talked before that two of the first three batters on this team are probably going to be domestics. And so you're going to have to count on your domestics to score. But for them, their strength is after that.
Absolutely. The strength, and really what it feels like MI's strength is all around the world, is that middle order that they travel and carry around. And they had good performances out of that middle order. Nicholas Spooner, 40 off of 28. Kyron Pollard, 48 off of 27. And Tim David, 53 off 28. Now the 50... those final runs came, once the game was pretty much sealed. They needed 40 off that last over. He did a couple boundaries. But his innings was good. He was able to play at a high level when he came in. And I think if you're New York, that's what you take away is, yes, we didn't come out on the right side. But if we fix a couple things up top the order, we're in this competition.
Yes, and honestly, that kind of seemed like the question we were talking about in the USA qualifier. I mean, in the ICC qualifier with USA, we were saying if they could just fix the top order on this tour. So yes, it was disappointing, but it is the first game, and I think that Tim David coming through the way that he did was important for him to get a good start in the tournament, and we saw Carmi bowling well for the San Francisco Unicorns. Everybody's very familiar with Liam Plunkett. He did Liam Plunkett things for sure. He took 2 wickets, was very economical. If we see this every game from Liam Plunkett,
it's a win.
That's a win.
Actually, myself and our producer, we ran into Liam before coming to the ground today, and he's like, Gabriel's going to have to keep up to me today. And we're like, there's no way about it, because if you look the way he bowled, though, it was like it was back in 2019 where it was the cutters, it was the change-up deliveries, and it works because you have Harisroff and Carmi LaRue, and how good was that combination to start, man? And Carmi did not look out of place in that duo either. Haris was spitting out some heat, but Carmi was moving it. It was fast. This is the first time I've ever seen him bowl live. I was scheduled to see him bowl a couple times, then he'd be injured, and I was
always
like,
impressed me.
But he's looked so good today, and I'm really excited to see what he can do throughout the tournament. Hopefully he can stay healthy throughout of it. But I felt that was the difference in the game for me was Liam Plunkett. When you look at the bowling for New York, the wickets came up front from Trent Bolt and Keisa Ramana.
And they were amazing.
They were amazing. But those middle periods are what you're looking for. They turn to Sarvjit Ladda. He takes a wicket, but he also gets hit for 29 runs in an over that really propelled San Francisco. And Plunkett took wickets. And I think that, to me, from a bowling perspective, was also a huge difference.
And that was the thing that when Corey said they picked the bowlers they were going to attack. And at that point in the game, Ladda's numbers were really good. I mean, you see he bowled 3 overs. He ended up with 43 runs in 3 overs. That's not great. That's bad. But 29 of those are in 1 over.
1 over, yeah.
So I think that's a little bit of the familiarity that Corey might have playing locally, playing in the USA against bowlers. He knows Ladda. So and then of course, but really in that over, a lot of that damage was done by Shadab Khan.
No, it was. He
was excellent.
He was terrific. It was great to see him. And speaking of Shadab Khan, the spinner, when I was looking at that New York 11, there's one name that's left off that we both thought was pretty much locked in. It was Nashta Skenjige wasn't a part of this.
That's right.
And it's because they elect to go with the double pace option of Ace Sanadil and Hamad Azam. It felt like you couldn't play those two alongside Nosh. One of the two would have to sit, and they were banking on the spin of Stephen Taylor and Sarbjeet Ludda to carry them through. I'm curious. Ehsan Adil, we know the quality of bowler he is.
Yes.
Did not have the greatest day, and I think for him, it's figuring out his role as a third pacer because they have the two pacers that swing the ball, get good bounce. But the thing Ehsan Adil does really well, he'll keep it in one spot and move it both directions.
That's right.
But when you're the third bowler, you have to throw in those changeups. Look at Liam Plunkett today. Why was he so successful? It was the changeups. It was the cutters. It was doing different things off the surface. That's going to be the key for Ehsan Adil if he wants to stay in this 11. Now, Hamad Azam didn't have a good day with the ball either. But I think what he brings with the bat is what will keep him in an 11. And so if they're looking for that middle over period wicket taker, to me, Nashos Kenjige could come in for the likes of an Ehsan Adil.
Yeah, he could. I think the thing is that you have to ask is, can Hamad Azam give you 2 or 3 overs in an innings? We know that Ehsan Adil can.
Yes.
The question is, like you said, is he bowling out of his role? Is this because we see him in minor league cricket.
He's terrific in minor league
cricket. But he's coming in right away.
Yes.
He's, you use the new ball with him.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like you said, he bowls line and length, but he uses the swing, and he also can turn it. He can get some cut too. But yeah, like you said, I would like to see him do a little more variations. Instead of kind of pitching it at the same place like he tends to do. But my goodness gracious, I was watching Kagiso. Sorry, I said his first name wrong. I need to drink more water before I can pronounce his first name right. I was trying. I'm trying.
We got to get Dane Pete on the phone right now.
Yeah, Rabada, my gosh, when I was watching him, I was like, how does anybody hit this guy?
Yeah, no, he was terrific today. And
we just saw this guy live in the USA. How exciting is this?
And he was so good, and I'm not sure he was going 100% today, Nate.
Yeah.
I'm being completely honest with you. It felt like there was still a gear he could turn to if he wanted to. And if he gets a chance to hit that gear, holy smokes!
I think we saw as fast as this is all the bowlers. If all the bowlers, in T20, one of the things, if you're not familiar with T20 is, or with cricket as much, and you're watching this, congratulations, you're putting up with a lot of things you don't know. But but really, in a T20 format, the pace bowlers don't always get up to top speed. You're bowling 2 overs at a time, and a lot of these guys are, a lot of the fastest bowlers in the world, you see them bowling that really fast in the longer format.
Yes.
Because they can work themselves up to it. Now, in baseball, you go to the bullpen and you throw 30 pitches in the bullpen or whatever, and you get your arm warm, and then you come in
and then you throw down. I mean, holy smokes!
And then all of a sudden, now you're in the game and you're on fire. In cricket, you don't really get that chance. You stand in the field for a while, and then you come in. So it's impressive to me when I see a bowler in T20 bowling over 90 miles an hour, and I think Haris Roth today might have hit 93 or close to it. And that's just something we don't see a lot in the USA.
No, it's not. And we were speaking about the bowling, and again, that was the difference of taking those wickets. Yes, both teams took wickets early, but it was the middle period of the game. San Francisco, they took the wickets. They made sure nothing was really comfortable. And even when Buda and Pollard were in, they got to 48 and 40 respectively. But they were slow early on. It was hard to score early, and they had to take a lot of risk. And Kyron Pollard's going to hit a couple sixes.
Right.
Nicholas Buden's at the height of his powers right now. He's going to score some runs.
Yeah.
But if you can make it taxing on them to get to that point, and by the time they were scoring, it was almost you need 10, 11 runs and over. It was high pressure.
Sure.
And that's what you want out of your middle because now the likes of Carmine Leroux are coming back. The likes of Haris Roth are coming back.
Yes.
Where it's hard to take those guys on.
Yeah, it really is. And you're right. Yeah. We saw Liam go early in the draft, and this is why he went so early. I mean, he has this type of experience. He's very good at finding a role and sticking to it. And we both know he can swing the ball early too.
Yes,
we saw him in Morrisville last year.
Right, and so that to me is the step for Ehsan Adil.
Yeah.
Yes, in minor league cricket, you're going to open the bowling. You're going to be the first bowler. You're going to get the new ball. It's going to move every which way you want it.
Yeah.
Here, because of the team you're taking you're going to be the third guy to bowl the ball as a pace bowler.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the ball. It's a little older, might not swing as much. So that's when you have to start doing the different things, the variations, take Liam Plunkett. I think he's the perfect example for that to me.
Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, it's a great compare and contrast between the two bowlers and what they do well and where the positions they are. They found themselves in a similar position.
Sure.
And so do you keep going with Aaman and Nate and let him find this role? Or do you switch to Jesse Singh, or you switch to Nostush Kenjigi?
I think the question is not just about Aaman and Nate. I would like to see him develop that role, and I think you picked him for a reason. He's one of the best pace bowlers in the country, and if you give him say, hey, in this net session, let's focus on these cutters. The one thing going against him right now is a short tournament, so there's not a lot of time for experimenting.
Anyone who had a bad day in the first game,
right? They're going to look, right? That's just what you have to do when you have 6 games to work with. And I think the question becomes, okay, why is Hamad Azam in the team? Is it because you want him to bowl a couple overs?
Right.
Or is that why you brought Aaman and Nate to take his overs away and you want the batting of Hamad Azam?
I think Hamad Azam is in this team because he basically is. He's like a Mumbai Indians type of batter.
And he is, absolutely, right? And so that, to me, it becomes the question of he's basically your backup for your big 3 of Puran, of Pollard, and of Tim David. If one of those 3 get out early and they need a partner, Hamad Azam can be that guy. Right, and if you think that's crucial, then it's going to be the competition between Aaman and Nate and Nostush Kenjigi. And I think I'd give Adil another game. And if he struggles with finding those variations, I think you have to just give Nosh a chance because he can affect the game in 3 phases.
Yeah, that's true. And also, but we're going to talk about this in a minute, how different the game played in the second game.
It absolutely did.
How different the wicket played
slower,
in the second game.
Gripped in the surface.
So I think it depends on, you have this option here to stick with him, or if you get in a situation where you're going to have some turn in the wicket, definitely you put Nosh in. If you have a situation like today, the first innings was fine for fast bowlers,
right?
And does Lada keep a spot?
Right, that's also the question. Do they go with Nosh instead of Sarabjit Ludda?
Right.
Now,
there's two ways that Nosh can get in this team.
But I think Ludda is that wicket-taking option they're looking for. And until Rashid Khan comes back into this team, I don't see him falling out of this team. Just in my opinion. I don't think they're going to take Ludda out for a Nosh who's a lot more of a, if you're looking at an international perspective, like a Jadeja type of bowler. Not a wicket taker per se, but a guy who's just going to keep things tight and build pressure. I think you have a lot of those. You're looking for that wicket taker, and I think Ludda's going to stay in that.
And I think going back to Corey's comment, they picked out the bowlers to take on. I think that was the over to yield to Shadab Khan, because he's batting from an end where he can reach the boundary better from that end, with a lot of bowling from the northern end, which what was that called, the racetrack end?
Yeah, so you got the racetrack end, you got the river end.
With a lot of bowling from the northern end.
Right, the racetrack.
So that obviously they're thinking there is, let's make it harder for Corey, the lefty, to hit a 6, because that's the wider side of the field. But yield to Shadab Khan right there, let him put up the numbers in that over. And it seems like to me that was the thinking between the partnership.
Absolutely. And so just looking at the comments really quickly, Cricket the Datashan, if that's how you say your username, he has a couple things that he thought. He loved Sarabjit Ludda's bowling, and why wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's great.
And he thinks that he's going to continue to improve over the course of this tournament. I would have to agree. I think he's going to get better, especially once Rashid Khan gets there. He's got another opportunity to learn. This is someone who's played IPL as well, so he's got a lot of experience, so he's only going to get better. And he agrees with the comment that Liam was the game changer, especially in the middle, getting those wickets. He has a comment about the next game we'll talk about, so I'll save that comment for a little bit. But I'll make sure
I like where he's going there.
I like where he's going with it, though, so I see it. Don't worry.
We're going to come back to that for sure. We're going there, man. We're going there.
Absolutely. And just moving up again, CBS Sports, Husafa Saeed, they will be showing 3 matches, and that's great. I think that's fantastic.
Love it.
To see it, imagine just in America, imagine cruising through your TV. You're not on Willow. You're not on Star Sports. You're just going to CBS Sports.
Yeah.
And it's not NFL football.
Sure.
It's not, basketball or baseball.
Right.
You're seeing cricket in Grand Prairie, Texas.
I love it. And That would be a great time for you to be on commentary, Aaman.
Oh, well, we're not going to open that can of worms right now.
No, we're not going to go.
I'm more than happy with doing the PA stuff at the side of the ground. It's been a great experience.
Because I know, it's an inside joke.
Well, we'll move on to the second match of today between the Washington Freedom and the Seattle Orcas. Now, this game played out much differently from the game we saw early.
Very different.
The first innings, it was bat, 200 runs.
Right.
You won the toss, you choose to bat. This time, Wayne Parnell wins the toss, chooses to bowl, and it turns out to be the right decision. And they go spin to start things off. You saw the Pacers do so well. He said, nah, we're going spin. And it's a decision that paid off for him.
Sure, and Parnell afterwards in the presser, which you guys can watch, it's on MLC Network on YouTube. He said he thought the wicket was fine, or no, of course he thought it was fine. No, everybody said that they thought the wicket was fine. So I think Glenn Phillips was the one who said that. He thought the wicket was good. But yeah, and yes, it ended quite differently.
Sure.
The first innings ended quite differently than the first game. But both of the innings started out a lot the same. You had three early wickets.
Yeah, that seems to be a pattern here.
Yeah,
like the wickets falling early. Even look at
doesn't matter who's up there, if it's a domestic or an overseas.
Martin Guptill goes out second ball.
Goes early.
Riley Rousseau,
Faf
du Plessis. Plenty.
Faf du Plessis. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe USA is England number 2 in terms of conditions here for openers, right? You know,
how about how about that?
Right, yeah. Like, so, I don't mind dethroning them every once in a while. but yeah, like in Andres.
America's good at that.
Yeah, right. Andres, I saw him easing his way in, safely.
Oh.
Harmeet Singh gets his wicket. His teammate in Seattle in minor league last year, when they won the championship. Harmeet apparently.
How good was he?
Yeah. Oh, Harmeet looked great. He was fantastic, and he was in good spirits after the game. We talked to him really briefly.
Yeah.
But every one of their bowlers took a wicket. They went with 5 bowlers. Now, this is a Seattle thing, isn't it? Is the going with only 5 bowlers? Like in minor league cricket, if you followed minor league cricket, every single game. Seattle won the championship last year. Bowled 5 bowlers just about every single game. I can't think of a game where they didn't.
No, they
maybe
won
1 or
5.
2. Because Posanapali got a couple of overs here and there.
Yeah, here and there he would get a couple of overs, but it was.
But they rolled with five, and they got great results. And this is the way, I guess, the Seattle people play cricket.
They're gonna live and die off the guys that they've chosen. And why not? If it's working this well tonight again, Imad Wasim I thought was really incredible.
Yeah.
I thought his spin, and then to couple that with Harmeet Singh.
Right.
Interestingly enough, Harmeet Singh was given 4 straight overs, and when he was given those 4 straight overs, he was the first bowler to bowl a consecutive over for the Orcas. They had changed everyone's end except for Harmeet Singh, who just stationed himself at the river end, and they let him go 4 straight.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, and also we didn't see Harmeet bat, which was interesting later.
Yeah.
This is getting to the second innings. But in that first innings, we had Akil Hussain. We talked a little bit about him in our shows leading up.
A lot more opportunities with Hasaranga not available.
Yes, with Nasser. Well, right, and honestly, with the conditions that we had, it was perfect for him.
Yes.
And you would send me a text before the second inning saying, this is perfect for their team, for the Washington team. And we thought 144 might be enough.
I thought it would be enough because the spinners are doing so much. It was gripping, and I thought with you're going to get the big hoof prints of Janssen, Nokia in there as well. I thought maybe Dane Pete is going to take a couple wickets, and the comments will say he bowled well as well.
Yeah.
You're going to have Akil Hussain. I thought maybe Obis Pinar slips in a couple overs of his left arm spin just because the wicket is doing that much. And I thought they'd be able to hold it. But this was the best game of cricket we've seen in the past 2 days.
It's a great game.
2 matches, this one came down to the wire.
You know what this one reminded me of?
What reminds you of?
A Church Street Park style game.
I had the same thought. I was looking out. I remember seeing the lights, seeing the crowd, the atmosphere, the vibe, and I said, wow, this feels like we could be sitting in Mooresville, North Carolina at Church Street Park with Nate Hayes doing comms.
With you doing comms. With us doing comms and high-fiving each other.
On top of the hill.
With kids hanging out around us.
It just felt like that. And it was terrific to feel that elsewhere in the country. I think it's a good sign for cricket elsewhere in the country.
Right.
But like we said, 144 for Washington. They were never able to get any real foothold with the bat.
Yeah.
And so now you can't focus on it. You got to go with the ball in hand and see what you can do. And interestingly enough, they don't try spin early.
Yeah.
They go Janssen. They go with Norkia. They go with Nutravolker for the power play.
Yeah. Yeah. That was interesting. I think Parnell is a very good captain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt like he handled their innings very well, the Seattle innings, bowling innings.
Yeah.
And then I also feel like I feel like both captains are very good. I think one thing that kind of reared its head. I said that I pointed out that our buddy in Akil Hussain, our buddy, we've never met him before, but I'd like to.
I'd love to meet Akil Hussain. Akil, if you want to be on, he got you.
So Akil Hussain in that first innings, lefty, right? The one lefty in that order, the one lefty in that batting lineup.
Yeah.
Right? He gets 33 out of from 22 balls, and I had pointed out before. I feel like they need more left-handed batters in this league, in the USA. We know in minor league cricket, teams with a lot of lefties, not a whole lot. You never want too much.
Right.
But like teams with a couple of lefty bats and a couple of lefty arms do really well.
Yeah.
And I think some of that might have to do with like this wicket is a wicket that a lot of people can take advantage of.
A lot of people take advantage of boundary sizes. Comment from PJ Goodalls. Nate, they want you to take off the hat. Show us that beautiful head of hair of yours.
Yeah, it's covered with sweat right now.
No, it's a beautiful head of hair. I think some people are very shocked to realize how lovely Nate's hair is when they meet him in person.
Yeah,
this is not even sarcastic. This is being dead serious. I'm being so completely serious with all you guys. But back to the cricket. The middle order, and there was a comment in there, that just kind of struggled. Not really able to get things going, but you have to go in with the ball.
Yeah.
Right, and with the ball, we mentioned they go with the pace early, and then in the middle overs, just unable to get that one breakthrough, but there were opportunities, and they were on the unlucky end of a couple of them. The DRS reviews.
Oh my gosh.
First ball for Saurabh Netravalkar, it looked pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
It looked pretty good, and it was just a touch high on the DRS.
Yep.
Given not out. Given umpire's
and
call.
you can't complain about Rashane's call there.
No,
because
the tie goes to the batter. That's the rule.
It's such a hard call to make, and there were two such calls like these.
Yep.
And when you saw it, it was 49-51.
Yes.
Basically, it was like like that's how close it was. So you can't even complain about it. It's just kind of bad luck. And then you had a couple of mistakes that on top of that bad luck cost any one of those four things goes their way, we might be looking at a different game. I ran into one of their part of the ownership or part of the operations of the Seattle team, and they, about 10 overs into the innings from Seattle, into Washington's innings. About 10 overs in, they said if we got to hold them to 140.
Yeah,
is what they felt like.
Wow.
So they're aware
of
the quality of Washington's bowling, and also they're aware. I said I think their bowling matches up real well against you, and he said yeah, you're right. We need to hold them to around 140. And so they're very aware of that. And you had said if you thought. If Washington got 130, they still had a chance. Yeah. And I felt like they needed 150 or so.
And you were right about it at the end of the day. But like we said, I think, and
I said that because it was reminding me of a Church Street Park game.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. It felt like it might get easier.
And I was
like,
you Church Street, you get to 150 game.
Game is on.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
It's 50-50 at that point.
And this was a great game. And there is a moment that sticks out from this, right? Amongst the wickets, amongst the DRS reviews. The moment for me, and I hate saying this because I love the guy, was the drop of Sharma Hetmeyer by Saurabh Netravalkar.
Yes.
They get him. That's their man. They have it. It's hanging in the air. Right. He's standing at cover, waiting for it.
And how much of this has to do with our guys, unless you play in the South, or unless you play in Chicago, right? How often are you going to play under the lights in the USA?
That's true. He's come to Church Street Park.
He has played at Church Street Park before. He has played under the lights, but it's usually either in the playoffs or on a prep tour, and not as much under the lights.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, look, I'm not trying to look for excuses. He dropped the ball. He didn't get close enough to the ball to catch the ball.
At first, I thought he was going to overrun it, and then he started, he
ended up reaching. And anytime you see someone reaching, you know it's a bad thing.
It was going to be sketchy, and again, there's a lot of things in cricket. Cricket is not just a one-ball game. But if you were to look at it, like when we talk about the San Francisco batting innings, we talked about that 15th over where they took advantage of Ludda as the turning point in that game. To me, that catch is taken. I think there's a different story that we're saying because remember, we said any one of those 4 things go Washington's way is a very different thing we're talking about. And despite all those unlucky situations, even with all of that, even with the drop catch, they were still fighting in this competition. They were still in it, and Dane Pete showed through for us. Dane Pete
Dane, our
was
buddy,
fantastic.
Great
that
job,
delivery
Dane.
that he bowled was unbelievable. To get that wicket, to just give us that little hesitation, right? Is Washington out of it? That delivery was terrific.
Dane looked really good all night. Somebody in the comments here said he looked like a really smart bowler. Well, guess what? He is a really smart bowler. We got Lawrence saying, he's watching from early mornings in South Africa, and he likes what he's seen so far. He's watching the league, Major League Cricket. That's awesome, man. I love talking to South Africans. I like talking to anybody about Major League Cricket, but there is a lot of extra appreciation I feel for Major League Cricket from South Africans quite often. But yeah, let's get back to the game a little bit. We talked about whether or not Hayden Walsh would appear in the first game. And we said we think he will eventually. He did appear. He was in the field. 12th man. He was the 12th man. He came in the field. Now, this is what I want to point out, how valuable it is of a skill to be a fielder as elite as he is. You're going to almost look for excuses to get this guy in the game. You need some water? Oh, it's pretty hot. Why don't you,
you say get Hayden in the game.
Go get, you need to take a break or something, right? Yeah. You want to get Hayden in the game.
No, absolutely, and I think he will find his way. And someone else who is just fantastic at what he does. This game was decided off the bat of Shubham Ranjane. Once again,
right at the end.
It was Shubham Ranjane at the end of a game with that moment. Comes in. Dane Pete just takes a wicket. It's what, 9? You need 6 runs from that final over. Dane Pete takes a wicket. Holy smokes. What does he do? 4-4 call game. They need 5 runs to win when he comes in. 4-4 calls game. That's Shubham Ranjane in a nutshell. We said it when we were picking our 11s. This is a guy who might not get an over every game. He might not get to bat every game. But when it comes down to it, in pressure situations, you can throw him in over, you can throw him in the middle, and he doesn't shy away from it. He rises to that occasion, and he did so tonight.
And we haven't seen a ton of him because he didn't even play a full season in minor league last year. But when he did, what we did see of him in person in that finals weekend,
unbelievable. He stole the show. You had the likes of Harmeet Singh,
all the stars
there, Funny Samadri, Calvin, you had Shadligan Skulkvik. All these guys were there on a championship-winning team. And somehow Shubham Ranjane, who's not the quickest, didn't take the most wickets, not the best bat, you would argue.
Well, not the fastest bat, but I mean, I think he looks phenomenal. I don't see anything wrong with him.
There's nothing wrong with him, right? But he's not Andres Callis. You're not going to rave about it. But he does everything right, and he does it in the biggest moments. And that's what
I'll take
sets him apart. He's going to stay in 11s for that.
I'll take him for sure. And we were talking earlier about that Hamad Azam role on New York.
That's this role.
This is Shubham is kind of doing the same thing. You don't know if he's going to bowl or not in the game. He might not even bat, but my goodness, when he does, he has come through in every situation we have seen him put in, and
not even just the situations we've seen. We got a comment here from Cricket Datashan. Thank you for watching this whole thing. He said whether it's Mumbai T20, minor league or major league, Shubham Ranjane finishes a T20 game. So apparently he's been doing this since his days in India. This is a habit at this point. This is not just happenstance. This is habit.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's nice to know that. It's fun learning about the histories of these guys before they get here.
Absolutely.
Because we always hear about so we got so and so in the USA now, so and then you don't know what to expect till you see them. But Shubham, tremendous. We didn't see Fani Samhadri. I predicted we would see him because of because of the fact that, like I said, mystery medium. But we did not see Fani Samhadri in this team. I think he'll get a game at some point. But right now we have, before this game, this is something I want to point out after we talked about the first game. The first 2 teams that won had 2 domestic fast bowlers that had plenty of action. This game here, we didn't see that as much. We saw Sorab and Cameron Gannon. But Sorab bowled very, very well. This is a Sorab game for anybody watching right now. This is a Sorab. For anybody who's new to the sport in this or
new to USA cricket, new to Sorab,
Nether all these things. Yeah. But Sorab, this is a typical game for him. 4 overs. 23 runs. Now he'll usually get a wicket too.
Yeah.
But oh man, that's just terrific contributions. I mean, obviously he made the drop, he missed the catch, but yeah, there you go.
Again, he played such a great game, and you're gonna remember that one moment. It was unfair, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just the way sports are, but. Another great day of Major League Cricket, Nate.
Amazing.
2 games. The doubleheader was hot, but it was great to see it. And tomorrow, we'll do it all again. Just one game, though. It will be between San Francisco and Seattle. So the 2 winners of today are facing off tomorrow at 7:30 Central Time. So you make sure you check that out. And also, join us once again right here as we'll give you post-game coverage for Nate Hayes, for Babar Beg, and for myself. Thank you for joining us on another Big Innings.